Melanoma, from an area where nothing happened over 40 years, has become the most dynamic field of drug development because of two reasons. Both in the drug mutation development, it has seen spectacular developments, but this year is really the year where the immunotherapy developments have been so convincing that it's going to have an impact on many different other tumor systems as well.
So we know about ipilimumab, but now there's some other interesting things coming out in immunotherapy.
Yeah, so the story about ipilimumab is one of fundamental scientific value, that if you inhibit an inhibitor, so you put the brakes of the immune system, you get reactivation of your T cell system, and then you get tumor responses, but not in a very high response rate percentage, 10 to 15%. But you get a patient population of around 20% that achieves long-term tumor control for years, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. Something you don't see with targeted agents. So the host immune system can create control with minor response rates, but in a small subgroup, so not exceeding 20% of your patient population. And therefore, people were not necessarily so convinced by the results of ipilimumab alone. Also, it's a molecule that has quite a few side effects like colitis, dermatitis, hepatitis, hypophysitis, so it can knock out your pituitary gland in about 5% of patients, so unpleasant, and difficult to handle, complicated. The new molecule is anti-PD1 monoclonal antibody or anti-PD1 ligand monoclonal antibody. And the difference is that now you have a monoclonal that works peripherally, so at the tumor site, and it neutralizes the effect of PD1 ligand expression on tumors. And PD1 ligand expression on tumors neutralizes the effects of PD1 expressing T cells. So T cells express PD1. When they attack a tumor cell, when they engage with a tumor cell, and it's a tumor cell that expresses PD1 ligand, that interaction will shut down the T cell, can even lead to the disappearance or the demise of the T cell, but at least it will neutralize its activity. So it's the major way of escaping host immune control for many tumors, most likely. But like always, I would almost say in immunotherapy, here now melanoma has led the field, and so it has a very high percentage of PD1 ligand expressing tumor cells, and if you prevent that interaction between PD1 ligand and PD1, the T cells will remain active or will be reactivated by breaking up that neutralizing influence. So melanomas are often quite well infiltrated by T cells, but then that T cell population is silenced, and so the tumor just progresses and will lead to the demise of the patient. Now you reactivate T cells that are specific. That's why they are there. They recognize the tumor cells, but they have been neutralized. Now they are resuscitated, and the very important thing is now we see response rates with these anti-PD1 monoclonal antibodies or anti-PD1 ligand monoclonal antibodies that are much higher than with ipilimumab. It's around 30 to even 50, 55% response rate. The responses come quicker than with ipilimumab alone, whereas the response duration is phenomenal. So the long-term follow-up data presented at ASCO with nivolumab, which is the BMS anti-PD1 molecule, demonstrated that the median response duration is 2 years, whereas we used to talk about median survival for these patients of 6 months. So it's completely now changing the field, and it's leading to mass conversion of medical oncologists to believe in these immunomodulatory approaches. So it's not only going to be true for melanoma, but to some degree it's also going to be true for renal cell. We already know that. We know that non-small cell lung cancer, as well as small cell lung cancer, responds to PD1 ligand monoclonal antibodies, even if it's in third line, so they already have failed 2 chemotherapeutic lines. Still in 20 to 25% patients are responding to just breaking up this mechanism of between PD1 ligand and PD1. So it's a major event in oncology in general, and it's major for melanoma because there was nothing there, as you know. Only few years ago, 4 years ago, there was nothing in melanoma. And now we have drugs that have median duration responses of years. So I think the whole concept of a clinical cure is now actually emerging, because as long as you have the tumor under control, you may not be cured in a eradication type of sense, but you may be cured in a controlled type of sense. So if you can transform melanoma into a chronically controlled type of disease, quite honestly, nobody would have believed that 4 years ago. So it's major.
But are there any patients that are not eligible?
Right now, actually, that's the other charm of manipulating the host immune response, is that it doesn't care about mutational status of the melanoma. So it's equally active, as far as we can see now, in BRAF mutated melanoma as in wild type melanoma. So as in NRAS mutated melanoma, as in, we right now don't have any indication that it's not true basically across the board for all melanomas. And this indirectly also opens up, therefore, for various other tumors to be explored. And the PD1 and PD1 ligand programs will be major across the board in all PD1 ligand expressing tumors. That's what's going to happen. Just one more point is that the combination of anti-CTLA-4, so ipilimumab, and a anti-PD1 monoclonal antibody, so for BMS it's nivolumab, and for Merck it's lambrozolizumab, kind of new words we have to get used to. Because of different mechanisms of action, one centrally, CTLA-4, one peripherally, anti-PD1, the combination of IPI and nivo have shown up to 80% response rates, but on top of that, the depth of the response is much greater than what we have seen thus far with either agent alone. So we see in the majority of patients that respond a near complete response type of regression. And so we're very hopeful that those patients will just be under control for years and years, and basically have the profile then of a complete response. So it's high times for immunotherapy.
So someone coming to your institute, you would offer them combined therapy?
So right now, it's going to take some time before PD1 will be approved, but I think it's going to be super fast tracked on phase 2 data, basically. So then they would just get upfront PD1. All metastatic melanoma patients, I think, are going to get upfront anti-PD1 as soon as it's going to be available, except for the BRAF mutated melanoma patients that are very rapidly progressive. Those patients, there you need to buy time. So you need to induce a very rapid response with a BRAF inhibitor, which you know will only be a transient phenomenon, but you need to create that time to bring in your PD1, anti-PD1 monoclonal antibody. And we don't know yet how the story of the combination of ipilimumab and nivolumab will pan out. The initial report in the New England Journal of Medicine of June this year looks extremely promising. But we'll see. The report on just the anti-PD1 monoclonal antibody, in the other article in the New England Journal of Medicine, it's the Merck molecule, in the same issue of the New England Journal of Medicine, looks extremely promising as well, with some 50% response rates very good durability. So that remains to be seen. Right now, I think we will primarily focus on immunomodulation combos and optimize the host immune response, and thereafter explore combinations with targeted agents if we still need them. Because the immune story right now, for melanoma at least, is almost too good to be true.